Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the FearFans podcast. I'm your host, Don Elmy, and I'm here with my co host, Nick Muley. And today we decided that since the new Hocus Pocus 2 is coming out on to Disney Plus on Friday, we decided to just go back to the original. That is the 1993 cult classic Hocus Pocus.
Which was
And
also the same year I was born. I just want to point that out.
oh yeah, I only would have been a toddler at the time.
Yeah.
Oh, here, Mr. Nice Guy, one of my
Yep.
subscribers here says, "Can't wait for the second Hocus Pocus 2 on Friday." Nor can I. Like it's like that's the beauty about Disney Plus. You just get access to all their new stuff, like not just Disney, but Star Wars and
Yeah.
oh man,
All
it's where
this,
it's
all the, it's all about nostalgia. Oh, look at this. Lock up your children. Yes, Salem, we're back. Oh, Don, very quickly, just so you know, I just saw a message from Greg. There is no live from him tonight, so we can go on as long as we like.
Okay. And so, yeah, when this film originally came out in 1993, like there was, people weren't crazy about it when it first came out. It wasn't until it was released onto the Disney Channel when it started getting the attention that I feel like it deserved.
Yeah, it's really one of those kind of. It's like that with a lot of movies. It's like, yeah, like when it was originally released back in '93, I think people really didn't take it seriously as much as they do now because, you know, when you think about it, just 3 years earlier in 1990, you had the movie The Witches that came out. You know, and I'm sure there have been also other additional films involving witches, that were released years prior. And of course, there were a few other ones that came out even after when Hocus Pocus came out. So I think they really just didn't really think too much of it until, word spread. And, over the next couple of years, it gained a lot more popularity than it did with its original release.
Oh yes, and yeah, because I believe it was like they didn't get the best criticism when it was first released in theaters, but then when families saw this film, like there were a few things that that parents I think were feeling like iffy about, like introducing the whole. You probably know where I'm going with this, right? When they
I'm going to put it this way. It's going to be what they brought up. It's like they were iffy. Parents were iffy about it back then, but if it was released today, it would drive parents crazy.
Yes, and yeah, like it's where the whole like the word virgin is used in the film. Like where let's see, the witches can be summoned if a virgin lights this candle. I'm just like, and then right now I'm just picturing back then, like families watching that on TV. Somebody like parents are watching that with their 6-year-old, and the 6-year-old looks in and is like, "So, mommy, daddy, what is a virgin?" Oh my god.
Well, I mean, don't forget. I mean, there is something called the Virgin Mary. But you know what? I got to bring this up because I was looking at some of the trivia about the movie. It says here, and this involves the word virgin. Contrary to popular belief, this was not the first Disney movie to mention virgins. It was Dragon Slayer from 1981 which is also another Disney movie. That was the first one that used the word virgin in a Disney film.
I see. And
Virgin Mobile. Why didn't I think of that before?
Yeah, I gotta be honest. I don't know that many people who use that phone service anymore.
It was probably big back in the early 90s, but no one. I literally have no clue or have any idea of who uses it anymore either.
Yeah, man. I know it used to be bigger, like years ago, but I just never knew anybody personally who used it. But yeah. Anyway, so yeah, this film is very unique premise. Yeah, it starts off with a scene where it takes place in 1693, so 300 years before the main setting of this film, 1993.
You're in the Salem Witch Trials.
Yeah, the time of the Salem witch trials. Yeah, that's why this film is based in Salem, because it has a history of accusing like people of conducting witchcraft, and so they are hanged or burned during in what is called the Salem witch trials.
Yep, that you saw something unusual. Yep, that person was a witch.
Oh yeah, and yeah, I feel like hey, like it, and a few people were like complaining about having the three witches hung in a Disney film, like depicting that. I'm like, would you rather have them depicting them burning them?
That is true, but there's also one other additional thing that is pretty dark about the beginning is they drain the life force of a little girl. I mean, that kid actually basically dies in that film, which, as
Yeah,
far as I'm concerned, that has to be again the first Disney film in which a child dies. Maybe not necessarily graphic in any way, shape, or form, but still it involves the death of a kid, but for a rather I mean, I'm sure there have been deaths like that in previous films, but like as a happy ending, this was probably the first time where a child dies for a um I guess you can kind of say for a much darker reason. And
yeah.
yes, Special Agent Carter sauce brought this up, put that comment up. Sarah Jessica Parker discovered that she is a descendant of a witch from the Salem witch trials. I'm
What?
not. So I looked that up too, and on the trivia, um, I was hoping to bring that up later in the show, but let's see, where was that? Oh no, wait, that's not it. Was damn it, where the hell is it?
What are you looking for?
It was something involving with what he just said about Sarah Jessica Parker.
Hmm,
Um, I'll find it eventually.
okay. Yeah, so yeah, you mentioned Sarah Jessica Parker. So there were three witches in this. What was it? The Sanderson, the Sanderson sisters. There was Winfred, their leader, Winfred, and then who was played by Bette Midler, and let's see, Sarah, played by Sarah Jessica Parker. So Sarah playing Sarah, and let's see, and then there was Mary, played by Kathy Najimy. I always have a hard time pronouncing that
Yeah, I
name.
always have a problem with that word too.
Yeah, but and when now that I see them again in this, when because we rewatched this film recently, when I seeing them again, they actually make me think of the Three Stooges without all the slapstick violence.
That's what I was thinking too.
Because Winifred is like the serious leader,
No,
and Sarah is like the overjoy has like this joyous like happy attitude,
Larry,
and Mary is like the dim-witted one. So basically,
Curly,
they have the same kind of person. So they have kind of the same like character qualities as Mo, Larry, and Curly.
not Jimmy. I think.
Not Jimmy. Hmm.
Well, oh, and here's what I found. By the way, here's what I was looking for. So this was about Sarah Jessica Parker. Um, Sarah Jessica Parker plays a witch who was executed during the Salem witch trials. While researching her family history for the show, Who Do You Think You Are? Parker was shocked to discover that her 10th great grandmother, Esther Elwell, was arrested in Salem, Massachusetts in the late 1600s for committing sundry acts of witchcraft and choking a neighbor to death.
Ooh.
Esther's case never went to court. She escaped with her life, and the accusation ended the Salem witch trials. Parker said, "It has changed everything about who I thought I was." So get this
Wow.
done. She basically was an actual descendant of one of the, basically, you can kind of say one of the women accused of witchcraft from Salem. Yep, that's exactly what Special Agent is talking about.
Not Jimmy. Okay.
Not
Not
Jimmy.
Jimmy.
Yeah,
Okay. I was hoping that's how you
I
pronounce
was
it.
like,
And
what the hell is not Jimmy?
not Jimmy. Yeah. Wonder where that name is from, like what country that originates from.
That sounds like well, obviously that sounds like something from Europe.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it's like some European nation. So in the process of when they like captured and killed this girl, so that they could as part of like this ceremony, like this potion to make them appear youthful, basically like keep them from aging, and then they don't kill the brother, they just transform him into a cat, and but now and this cat now has the ability to talk and has the oh wait, she's a
Arabic
Arabic
descent.
descent. Let's see.
Okay.
And so yeah, this character Binks, Yeah, like just goes on living for yeah, like basically he can't die. Like part of the part of that curse is like he has immortality. So he lives for 300 years just protecting that house for in case the witches ever return, and he could still talk. So yeah, a talking black cat. You know what that makes me think of? You know what that makes me think of?
What's that?
Salem from Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Well, I was actually going to add he was only able to talk if someone lit the black flame candle. Before that, he can only communicate as a normal cat would. So when the black flame was lit, that's when he regained his ability to speak.
Ah, oh yeah, that is correct. Yeah, I forgot that part of it. But
You're good. I'm glad I'm helping you out with this.
oh yeah. Oh, I wanted to bring up like, this one thing. I like as far as like Disney allowing certain Hunter Linda Blair's boyfriend. Oh, hello. Uh, and as far as what I mentioned earlier about the whole virgin thing, there was actually a scene later on that we saw where like a bus driver was like hitting on like Winfred, like they were basically all of them were looking for children to like try to get their potion done again, so they before sunset, or otherwise they're gone forever. Which makes me wonder how they were even brought back for the sequel. But anyway, so they're looking for children. She basically just flat out asked the bus driver looking for children. Like again, this it takes place on Halloween, so the bus driver thinks it's all just people like dressed up as witches costumes, you know. But
Yeah.
and he's like, let's see, children. I think it would take about one or two or three times for that to happen. But I'm just like, when he said that, I'm like, really?
Yeah, seriously.
In a Disney film? Are you serious?
My
It's like,
God.
yeah, imagine parents out there were like giving Disney so much crap for that. But which brings up this point. You know that in 1984, Tim Burton was brought on to Disney to make Frankenweenie. Yeah,
That's right.
yep. But then he was fired for making the film too creepy for kids. It's like, okay, so creepy imagery is okay, but sexual innuendos you'll allow?
It was a different era back then. So, but did you know? Well, did you also know too that before who was the director of Hocus Pocus? I keep forgetting his name.
I keep forgetting. I never researched his name.
I can't remember either, but originally, I don't know if you knew this. This film was originally offered for Steven Spielberg to direct because well, he would have directed it, but the problem was he declined the offer. Kenny Ortega, that's
Kenny
the
Ortega,
person's name.
yes.
Steven Spielberg declined the offer because at that time Disney was Steven's competitor and rival. He worked for yes, he worked for like Amblin Entertainment, which was, a division of Disney, but was more for mature movies. But for the most part, at that time, he wanted nothing to do with Disney at that time. He was that kind of person who liked making movies for other companies or films independently. Although years later, he would eventually collaborate with Disney with other film projects. But at that time, he didn't want to take it. It would have, honestly, had he directed, I don't think I really would have seen a change if he did it. But it would have still been awesome if Steven Spielberg directed it.
Oh yeah, it probably would have been a completely different film. But
I'm sure it
yes,
was, but I don't think there would be very much of a difference.
yeah. So the director Kenny Ortega, he's worked with Disney quite a bit after
Yeah.
Hocus Pocus. He's directed Cheetah Girls movies, the High School Musical trilogy. Let's see Descendants. So he's done a lot of work. Like starting with Hocus Pocus.
So that must have been like his directional debut.
I believe so.
And what's even more amazing about involving the crew is that one of the co-writers or it was co-writers or co-producers. It was written by Mick Garris, who is a well-known pioneer in the horror genre. He had directed several Stephen King adaptations, including a few years later, the 1997 miniseries of The Shining.
Oh yeah.
And he also did Creepers 2, directed that in the 80s. He also was the creator of the Masters of Horror series years later on Showtime. He directed 2 episodes himself, which were the episodes Chocolate and Valerie on the Stairs. And most recently, he directed the new horror countdown series, The the 101 scariest movies of all time. So he really has had a huge following and has had a huge collaboration with the horror genre. And as far as I know, even though he didn't direct this movie, this was probably one of his very few, if not really his only family related horror films that he worked on, because most of the other movies were adults or R-rated films.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, like you look at some of these cast members, you look at all the stuff they get into, and it's crazy. But I wanted to mention this. Like it's kind of crazy how they fired Tim Burton for making Frankenweenie, but then they brought him back for Nightmare Before Christmas. Yeah, had him produce that.
Yep. Which was considered the competitor to Hocus Pocus.
Oh yeah.
Because they both revolve around Halloween. And what they did with Hocus Pocus though is, unlike Nightmare Before Christmas, which was actually released during the month of October of 1993, they released Hocus Pocus in July of that year because their whole goal was to have it released during the summer. So due to the fact that kids are off of school, they were able to see it, a lot more easily than they could during the school year.
That's right. Yeah, it's crazy how everybody credits that it being Tim Burton's movie, and even though it was directed by Henry Selick.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
and
right.
also, yeah, and not only that, but also years later in 2012, I believe they allowed him to have an animated version of Frankenweenie.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's like, hey, we're sorry for firing you. You turns out you were right. Like you are a creative filmmaker. So yeah, they just look at about just about everything that he's done since the original version, and decided, you know what, we'd like to have you come back and do more work for us. Yeah, we'll let you do a animated version of Frankenweenie. Not a short film, a full feature film. And but first, we would like you to direct a live action Alice in Wonderland. And let's see what else. What else could we do? Oh yeah, how would you feel about directing a live action Dumbo?
Seriously, I don't even know if I'd really call it live action, because in this day and age, everybody's using CGI.
Obviously they're not using a real elephant to fly around.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Let's see what Special Agent Carter said. Disney tried to go in the way of Fox of releasing holiday movies in the summer, like Home Alone. That is true.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah, Disney owns 20th Century Fox now, so yeah, they own the rights to Home Alone. They own the rights to all kinds of, much more content now. But yeah, sure, they have some things that are appropriate for kids, but also some things that are not appropriate for
yeah,
kids.
that's just
Because
Disney wants to take over everything.
Yeah, because you know what else was made with 20th Century Fox? Let's see, the Die Hard franchise, the Alien franchise, the Predator franchise. Yeah, a lot. The list goes on.
So does this mean the Alien and Predator movies are now considered Disney movies?
Jesus.
I seriously hope not.
Oh my
Because
god.
that's just like, what the hell are you thinking? I'm sorry to say this, but it's just, I despise Disney nowadays because they want to take over everything.
Yes, Disney do not do anything to the Alien franchise.
Yeah, do not. No, don't. That is a legendary series.
Alien is my number one favorite horror film. Do not mess with it.
Yeah, you will be sorry. We will rebel against you for that.
Yes. Oh, don't remind me of that.
No,
film.
don't even bring that up.
I saw that and did a review on it, and that film is just disappointing. Okay, I'm just gonna say this. So after that couple did all that stuff in that house, the house is now completely trashed because of all the booby traps. It shows Kevin and his mom coming home to see the mess. It's like, oh yeah, good luck, all of you explaining that to her. And just a year later, they just have dinner together. Like, oh yeah, water under the bridge. You came in, you broke into my house, destroyed all kinds of stuff. But yeah, we're BFFs now.
It's just like
so stupid.
It's really dumb. And I'm glad I haven't seen that.
Stupid.
So I like Jeremy's comment that he put down. Disney's the Predator.
Oh my god. Oh man. If they do anything to the Predator franchise.
Oh god, don't do that either. Don't do that either.
No, because hello, Brad. Thank you for joining us.
Brad, hey, where the hell were you on our last show that we were on? We were on Historically Haunted Vodcast. You missed a good show. They bastardized Predator with Prey.
Oh yeah, Prey. I actually did like Prey.
I never saw Prey.
Yeah, Prey. Okay, to make it brief for you, it's takes place in like the time of Native Americans, and basically it's like where the predator, like an early form of predator, visits, and this Native American woman who's out to prove herself, sees like the predator as like the ultimate and like the ultimate prey, the very thing she wants to hunt in order to prove that she's a great warrior by going after the deadliest warrior in the universe.
Hmm.
Yeah, but yeah, Prey. Hold on. Yeah, Jeremy, Prey, it's worth seeing. It's on Hulu right now. So, yeah, if you have Hulu, highly recommend it.
Sounds interesting.
I consider it better than any of the Predator sequels.
Very interesting.
Oh, yes.
I like I said, there's Jill, by the way.
Oh, Jill.
What's up, Jill?
How's it going?
Yeah, it does sound interesting. I just have never seen it.
Oh, yeah. And Nick, if we want to have anybody from the network to join us, they feel free. We could.
Yeah, what I'm doing right now, just to make sure we don't lose anybody, I'm checking my personal page right now just to give some shout outs if anybody's been watching through there, because you know how it is sometimes.
Oh yeah, with this network, it just gets.
Well, no, it's not network. It's just StreamYard
not network. I mean StreamYard. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, the StreamYard network, whatever it says. I love. Oh, Jill, thank you for tuning in.
What did Jeremy just say? You're still streaming too? Yeah, we're gonna have to make a change to that, because I mean, I really hate to say that, because we get the other viewers watching, but unfortunately, though, it's just the way it is with StreamYard. I mean, and trust me, I have tried contacting StreamYard on several occasions about trying to get this fixed, and it just has not been working out. I mean, they claim they're going to help me out with it, but they haven't. So unless I see an actual improvement of it, I just don't think it's possible that we'll be able to continue on with the personal pages.
Man. Yeah, I don't understand it.
But so far, from what I'm seeing from the personal page, well, no one's watching from the personal page or commented. So, all right. So I guess I guess you got to say we're good for now.
Yeah, we're all right for now. Let's see. And as for the people that were in this film, like one of the biggest names, like we said, Sarah Jessica Parker. She moved on to play for her role in. She's moved on to Sex and the City. That's like one of the main things that she's known for in this day.
Yep. This was back in before she did that. As I've always described it, this was back during her innocent days before she got involved with Sex in the City. Like, I just don't get it. Why have someone who's been in, like, I don't know if she's been in other Disney movies or kids movies, but still, why have someone who's appeared in a family film like this go on to something like that? I mean, I get probably the money, but still, I ask myself that question almost every day. Like, why do some people take that direction after being in such an awesome family film? I just don't get it.
Well, people start off in family films and moved on to all kinds of crazy things.
Yeah, stuff that they never come back from. The scene where the kids are in a trance from a scrapped concept where kids ate candy crows and Sarah used her siren song to lure them.
Oh yeah, I remember that. That's like near the end where like all those kids are like in a trance and moving towards the house.
Oh yeah.
We
never did see them in the end when they were broken off from their spell. They're walking, and that's the last time you ever see them. You never see them like confused, like what happened or anything like that. I just realized that.
Yeah, they just disappeared. No, never to be seen again.
Unless there's a deleted scene or something, but I don't know about that.
Yeah, no idea. But yeah, like let's see who else was in this. Oh yeah, the little girl who was in that. She was like she was played by let's see, Thora Birch. Yeah, Thora Birch. Birch. Yeah, that's her name. She's got to be like 40 now.
I was gonna say it's funny. I think it's funny due to the fact that now almost 30 years, these kids that were in the film, the main kids were like, obviously two of them were like in their late teens. Thora Birch was like 11.
Yeah.
And Now today, they're all in their 40s.
Yeah, and now it makes me feel old, and that's like one of the and that's one of the main things about Hocus Pocus. That's why it's getting hype now because it's like got that '90s nostalgia value to it. You know, like I was born in the '90s. You know, I look at this and it just reminds me of simpler times.
It does, because first off, I actually had found out because I was always wondering from the trivia they said about how long it took with filming this movie, and
Yeah,
it's just so ironic. It was Hocus Pocus was filmed over the course of 5 months in Salem, Massachusetts. So it actually was shot in Salem and
yeah.
numerous other locations. Filming started on October 12th, 1992.
Oh,
And the funny thing was, it finished on February 10th, 1993, literally just 14 days before I was born. So
oh.
right after that movie was done, then I came to existence. It's just like, but no, seriously though, it does have a much simpler time because you know, now I'm sure some people remember this watching, you know, growing up in the 90s and early 2000s with when it came to Halloween and trick or treating. I think we really had a lot more freedom when it came to trick or treating than when we do now. And that kind of shows that memory because, like, you know, as I remember, we often were known to trick or treat till like 10 or 11 o'clock. At least one occasion I remember till midnight, provided if Halloween was on a Friday or Saturday night. We didn't have to worry about police. We didn't have to worry about curfew. Didn't
Yep.
have to worry about cranky neighbors. It was just everything you can. And there used to be a lot more older folks, like people like in their early 20s trick or treating. So it was just that movie to me just brings back, you know, what was once a great memory, which is now long gone. Because of course nowadays, when it comes to trick or treating, it's all different because of these damn curfew laws. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but to me, it just isn't the same.
Yeah, and you can't even walk around with certain items like fake bats or fake, items that people see as weapons, even though they sell them at Spirit of Halloween. You
Yeah,
know,
we
like
sold
or
them.
something like this,
You
for
couldn't.
example.
Yeah,
Like,
back in the day, I remember going to. There was one person I knew who wore Freddy Krueger, who had the glove knives, the glove knives, and no one ever said anything about it. That was bad. Now
yeah,
you can't do that. You also can't even wear masks. Considering that we also went through COVID, you can't even wear a Halloween mask anymore at school. It's
nope.
like ridiculous.
Yeah, like I said, our time was a simpler time.
It was a much simpler time. It was a lot more acceptive, and you didn't have to worry about. There was really no worry. It was just, man, these holidays like that, just like Halloween, was just so much fun. I'll never, ever, ever forget that. And in my opinion, I don't think there's ever going to be another era like that. So Hocus Pocus, like I said, is just one of those movies that reminds us of a much better and simpler time that's now sadly long gone. We
Yeah,
back in those days we thought it was going to last like this forever. Unfortunately, we were proven wrong.
yeah. It's sad how the world changes.
Yep, it all, as I would say, it all came to. I mean, yeah, the early 2000s continued on with it, but I would say it all came to a change by, I would say, like 2000. Even though the rest of the early 2000s was fun, it all came to a change with, I would put it around 2000, 2007, 8, or 9 is when it began to change.
Yep, right around that time. Hello, Emily. Thank you for tuning
Emily,
in.
good to see you.
Yep. Oh,
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just
you're
going to
welcome.
her. We were reported the 80s.
Nope.
Nope, we were born in the early 90s,
Yep. 92.
93. So the same year of that, as I was just saying, I was born literally 14 days after they finished Hocus Pocus, which was February 10th of 1993. I was born on the 24th of that month.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So
Uh,
yeah, we were.
I was dressed as La Llorona on my porch to pass out candy to no trick or treaters.
Oh man.
That would have been awesome.
Yeah. Like, come
And we're
on.
only 30, so well, I'm 29, so I'll be 30 next year.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like, come on, like Corona, like if people are really that scared of it, like they to the point where parents are just not allowing trick or treaters to approach her. Like
No, it's nuts.
it's like apparently the parents don't understand the whole concept of costumes.
Oh my God. I got to bring this up. What Brad just said. His 9-year-old daughter watched Killer Clowns for the first time. She loved it. That's awesome. Yeah.
Nice.
Oh,
Oh man.
that song Sarah sings while on the. I'm just catching up on the comments. That song Sarah sings while on the broom. That was such a good song. I wish there was a full version of it. I wouldn't be surprised if there is a full version because you know, like how some musicals will just cut down to a certain song just for the length of the film.
Yeah.
It might be just cut down in the film, but there might be a full song. And I did find out something about that song. Contrary to popular rumor, the song Sarah sings from the sky there was a belief that it was written by Edgar Allan Poe, like it was based
Oh.
on an old poem. It was not actually written by Edgar Allan Poe, nor does it carry the style or meters he would have used. It was written specifically for the film by composer John Debney.
Ah. Let's see. Wow. I mean, it kind of sound like something that was from Edgar Allan Poe. Wait,
Got 10 years on. Yeah, the 80s were the best. And even though we love the 90s and early 2000s, we still always say on many occasions, Emily, that we wish we could have been born 10 years earlier because I would have loved to have experienced the 80s.
oh yeah, you would love yeah, like and then you'd have to experience the upside down and demo
Yeah.
children. Yeah,
They're 90s babies.
there we are.
Yes, we are.
Yep. Let's see. I mean, the '80s had some of the best horror films ever. You know, like you look at there's Nightmare on Elm Street, yeah, Friday the 13th.
Well, I could put something else for you about that, Don, because I found this out. And this has something involving the 80s and Hocus Pocus. Get
What?
this from the trivia. David Hirschner, who produced and wrote Hocus Pocus, had also, just a few years before, wrote Child's Play.
Oh,
So, believe it or not, for a film like this, you kind of did have, like I said, with Mick Garris, you had some of those horror pioneers that actually took part in this film. You know, these were basically guys who made R-rated horror films in the past, but came together to make this basically horror fantasy film, which is pretty awesome. Fun fact: the scene where Billy Butcherson cuts off the moths come flying out. Those are real moths.
what?
They place a special pocket in Doug's mouth so he wouldn't swallow them. Yeah, I did read about that. Those were real moths. And you know that scene where Sarah Jessica Parker eats a spider?
Yeah.
You're going to find this hard to believe. She actually ate a real spider.
Oh,
I'm not even joking the least bit.
disgusting.
That's gross, but she never did reveal how she felt when she did that.
I couldn't do that. I swear, if that thing went near my mouth, I would puke.
Yeah, I would too. I just hope they only shot that scene once. Can you imagine if you were you did a scene like that, like you had to eat a real spider, and then they say, "Up, cut, nope, that doesn't look right. We got to do it again." Can you imagine if you had to keep doing?
Oh,
that would have been ugly.
Yeah,
80s had the best of everything. Yes, it did.
That's the Saturday Night Nightmares on USA. Oh, was that in the 80s or?
That sounds like it. What do you do for money? What do you do for money? Excuse me. Okay, so it must be something. Joanne from Canada. Good to see you.
What do you do for money? Oh, is that like that makes me think of that AC/DC song from the Back in Black album. So
is that another one from the 80s?
Yep. Yep, the first album to be released by AC/DC after getting Brian Johnson as the lead singer, after Bon Scott died.
I love this comment what Jill just said. Guess what else, Emily? They missed the MySpace era. We covered that yes, we did. We covered this last week on Supernatural Talk when we tried hacking into our old pages, but they deleted them.
Yeah, I seriously don't know anybody that uses MySpace anymore.
You should watch Supernatural Talk. Everybody, we were like, I don't mean to get off topic. We were originally like talking about serial killers, especially since there was that show Dahmer that was on. And then as time went on, we switched to talking about MySpace, and because I never had MySpace. Everybody like Adrian, Eileen, Jill, they were all like checking to see if they can go back into their old MySpace pages. But we found out that MySpace deleted a lot of their pages years ago.
Yeah, and my two older sisters are like probably some of the few people I know that had MySpace like about 15 years ago, but to my knowledge, they don't use it anymore.
It's probably gone.
It's
So
it's dead. MySpace is dead.
what do you do for a Klondike bar?
Do it. Name it. Name it. Anything you want me to do for a Klondike bar, I will do it.
They barely remember the land.
whether it's legal or not, I'll do it. whether it's a crime or something, I will do anything for a Klondike bar.
Double Brothers, Bachman Turner Overdrive. Well, Bachman Turner Overdrive, that was from the 70s. I love their song Taking Care of Business, though. I'll tell you that much. Dude, it was a lot of fun. It was so funny. Okay, I'm just trying to get up with all the comments. Jill, get off the computer. I'm waiting on some nights of laugh for real. They even used puppets for when the Sanderson sisters were in flight.
I think so.
Did you know that?
I think so. In like certain shots, they did. Yeah.
Dial-up era.
Oh yeah, friggin' dial-up, man.
Double, not Doobie.
Doobie Brothers. Yeah, I was about to say that's Doobie Brothers. What do you? Yeah. Right, yes, that's a good vampire movie.
Another movie from the 80s, which again, even though it wasn't the same producer, all this talk about David Hirschner, who produced Child's Play.
Director.
It was no. David Hirschner was the producer for Child's Play, who did Hocus Pocus.
No, I'm saying the same director.
Wait, I said he was I thought it was
Tom Holland. He was same director as Child's Play.
That's what I was about to get to. I was going to say, even though David Hirschner, who did Child's Play, didn't do Fright Night, I was going to say the director of Fright Night later did Child's Play as well.
Yes.
Do you remember ICQ?
ICQ.
What's that?
That was probably before my time.
It probably was too, because I don't know what that is.
Also a TV show?
Is he talking about Fright Night or?
I don't think Fright Night became a TV show. As far as I know, it has as far as I know, it has a sequel and a remake, and that's it.
Google it. Maybe when I have a chance. Oh, of course.
Oh,
remember AOL, AIM, Yahoo Messenger, the lyrics in chat rooms. Yep. I still have an AOL account.
I don't. I haven't used AOL in ages.
ICQ was another instant messenger.
Oh, yeah, but I never heard of that one.
Yeah, I'd never heard of that one either.
Yeah, but what I was saying before about what was I saying? Oh yeah, Thora Birch. I remember her like being in American Beauty. She played like the daughter of Kevin Spacey in that film. Let's see what else. Oh, she was also in a movie I saw for a film class back in high school called Ghost World. It had Steve Buscemi and Scarlett Johansson in it. And last time I saw her in anything that was horror related was when she was in a season 10 episode of The Walking Dead.
That's right. You got one of your other subscribers.
Hey, Billy. Well, you're a little late, but it's okay. Right now we're just covering Hocus Pocus and also thinking back to nostalgia from the 90s, and which is where this film was made from, and the early 2000s. Like we were just talking about how like the certain chat rooms that most people don't even use anymore, like MySpace and AOL.
Yeah, and all this. I'm just trying my best not to bring up stuff about MySpace, because after what Jill just said, it probably wouldn't be long before we'd start getting into the MySpace stuff again, which let's not try to go there.
Oh, Jesus. Let's see. Oh, here, Mr. Nice says, I wish they'd bring back Omri Katz, who played Max. Let's see. Vanessa Shaw, who played Allison. Thora Birch as Danny. Yeah, that was her name. Yeah, like Vanessa Shaw was in like one of those. And like as far as horror, she was in like probably the most gruesome and violent horror remake you could ever come across.
Yep,
you know what I'm talking about, Nick.
The Hills Have Eyes, the remake.
Yeah,
that was like, because I was looking that up, and you brought that up, and I looked it up to see which character she'd play, and I thought, oh please, please not let it be one of the characters that not only is shot, but you know,
Yeah,
and I
but
looked it up and I looked it up like with my phone, and I'm like, oh shit.
yep, she
It
played.
was one of those scenes.
Yeah, because I saw the unrated extended version of it. So, it has all the extra gore, and I saw that scene where like three family members are killed. The dad of the like all the family members is like the matriarch, the patriarch, or whatever it's called. It was
Patriarch.
patriarch, yes, was burned alive at the tree. Like it
Yep.
showed. Oh my god! And
And
then
then
then the wife, his wife, is like stabbed, and then Lynn and her sister. Brenda. They were both being molested and like being abused by the mutant family, the mutants, which
Lizard.
Lizard and what was that other one? Pluto.
Pluto.
Pluto. Yes, that was his name. Lizard being like the most vicious out of them. Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah, oh my god, that was
Yeah.
just, like,
It,
horrific to watch. I mean,
it
yes,
was.
they were trying to keep up with the original series, but I think excuse
They
me, original film,
yeah.
but, they made it more violent
Yes,
because
they took it to a graphic new level, man.
it was
Like
just like it was keeping up with because that was considered one of the most unfortunately infamous scenes from the original one was the death of the two mothers and then stealing the baby, of course. But
yes.
when they did the remake, though, it's just they took that scene to a whole new level. And honestly, if you grew up watching Hocus Pocus with her with Vanessa
Vanessa
what was
Shaw, yeah.
Vanessa Shaw in it, and you realize that it was her and you saw a scene like that, oh my god, I think that would change almost everything forever. Because it's like you would probably just never expect that an actress like her would appear in such a rather gruesome and violent film, and especially have such a horrific death scene out of it.
Yeah, and where it's like all those violent acts when you think it doesn't get any worse than this, where you feel happy that she just goes up and stabs Lizard with a screwdriver, then she turns around and shoots her in the head. Blood because like I said,
Yep.
this is the uncut version with all the extra gore. They had blood like spraying onto like the wall where it shows like baby pictures, and
Yep.
that mom just collapses dead. I'm just like this was my exact reaction when I saw that scene. I watched that and I'm just like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I was like, holy cow. Like it was many years after I saw Hocus Pocus, after when I first saw the remake of Hills Have Eyes, and I didn't even realize that was her in the remake. Like
Yeah.
that, I think that would have changed almost everything completely had I seen it sooner, and then I saw Hills Have Eyes.
Oh yes. And yeah, and but that if anything, for the rest of that was like the first half of the movie. The second half, like when the dad goes after the baby and goes after that mutant family, just offing them one by one. I'm just thinking, I'm rooting for like the dad now. Yeah, like
Yeah, he was
like
bad. I have to admit, he was
yeah,
badass.
yeah, yeah. Like it's like save the baby, hunt those bastards down.
Yeah, those guys were just crazy. And yes, Billy, I just want to put this out. We were just talking about, yep, this was pre-Sex in the City, Sarah Jessica Parker.
Yes, it was.
Tales from the Crypts. Another good show, was running the same year when Hocus Pocus came out in 93.
Yes, it started in 89, ended, I think, in 96, if I remember this correctly.
I think it was 94, 95, and that no,
it had 7 seasons.
Yeah, so it had to be 94, 95, and then of course
96, yeah.
1995, then you had Demon Knight, and then a couple of years later, you had Bordello of Blood.
Mhm.
So the series ended in the mid 90s, but they had the 2 and somewhat third film. Today is my 27th birthday, and Hocus Pocus is a late birthday present. Well, happy birthday.
Nice. Happy birthday.
I'm sorry.
Yep.
I am Chatbox while you're on the computer with something else. Instant messages by only users' names. Here's a question for you, Don.
Will you guys cover the late sequel? Oh yeah, definitely. We'll definitely be covering it at some point. Right now, I'm just working on the schedule because now that it's October, I'm just looking at there's so many different legendary horror films we can cover around Halloween that people watch around this time of year. You look at there's films like Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street. Like the list goes on. But
Yeah, I've actually been Tom Nelly had reached out to me last night, and he's believe it or not, Don, we're already receiving a few requests of what people want us to talk about during the upcoming Halloween season.
oh, I love it. That's what I like to hear. I would love to look into those requests and see. Oh, one movie I definitely would like to cover. Like I don't know if for this Halloween or the next Halloween. One film I definitely want to cover is this.
What's that? Yes, Trick or Treat. That would be an awesome one.
Oh yeah. It's like I love this movie, but I am disappointed though in the cover of this. Like it actually shows Sam's actual face without the mask, and I'm just like, it's like, come on, you're spoiling that surprise for everybody here. It's like I look at this and I'm like, come on, people, what the hell?
They're still talking about this damn stuff about MySpace is long before YouTube and Twitter, and maybe
Oh yeah,
it
it
was
predates all
because
that.
Facebook came out in 2004, but it was a college site then. It didn't really get the notoriety until like 2007, 2008. Of course, it
Oh yeah,
sucks. It sucks now. And then
yeah,
YouTube, I think, started in 2005. So yeah, I think MySpace was around before.
yeah.
We all agreed to make new MySpaces that had each other.
Yeah, MySpace, a big part of the like why of its decline is where Mark Zuckerberg created Facebook, and yeah, they basically changed like social networking as we know it, and it was
Yep.
all downhill from there. It was all downhill from there for MySpace.
USA groovy movies.
Hmm. Oh, virus
Oh,
movie.
virus movies. Oh, I love how, you know what? I have something to tell you actually about something you're going to find this hard to believe. This is again going back to Hocus Pocus. Get this.
Mm-hmm.
The cast of Hocus Pocus got back together for a virtual reunion special in October 2020, hosted by Betty Midler.
Bette Midler.
Bette Midler. See, I keep saying Betty. Bette Midler to benefit the New York Restoration Project. The only time the one time only event was made by only to fans who bought tickets that night. Midler, Kathy, how do you say Kathy's last name? Najimy, or is that how you say it?
Najimy.
Najimy, thank you.
Najimy, yeah.
Midler, Kathy Najimy, Sarah Jessica Parker, Doug Jones, and other stars from the movie were featured along with special guests. Get this, Don, like Elvira, Jamie Lee Curtis, Meryl Streep, John Stamos, Glenn Close, Billy Crystal, and Adam Lambert. So yes,
Adam Lambert,
Elvira did have even though she wasn't in, she kind of had an association with Hocus Pocus for this reunion that they had 3 years ago.
Oh, nice.
Do you think The Hills Have Eyes is more brutal than Wrong Turn? He's talking about the remake.
The remakes, yes.
Oh yeah, I think
yes.
the remakes are more brutal because it's like Wrong Turn, the mutants in that movie, they're just hunting down people for they're cannibals. Hills Have Eyes remake, they're cannibals too, but they take it more than just hunting people. They go to the extreme.
Yes, total extreme. Like you look at that one scene that we just discussed on the Hills Have Eyes remake.
Scene.
Like if you look at that and you see some of the most horrific and appalling crimes being committed within a matter of minutes.
Yeah, I mean they're like, and they kill without remorse. I mean, yes, there's that one partial mutant that's the benign one. You know what? The girl, you remember Ruby.
Ruby.
Yeah, she's the only one who's actually friendly, but all the others, they show no remorse whatsoever for their killings that they do. And it's all because of these atomic bomb tests that they were testing out.
Yeah, and the fact that Ruby sacrificed her life to stop Lizard and save the baby, it was just
that was quite a move because they didn't do that in the original. She survives.
It's like what is going to kill Lizard? He takes all these shotgun blasts from the dad. It's
how
like
does someone survive that many shotgun blasts?
It's like I don't care if you've been mutated from a nuclear bomb. Like how are you able to survive a 12 gauge round multiple times?
That was I have to admit, as gory as it was, that was a badass scene. That was literally one of the few best, literally probably one of the best gory scenes I saw from that movie. That I was actually happy.
A father's vengeance.
Yeah. Tales from the Crypt would come after Saturday Night Nightmares. Gilbert Gottfried had a show too. I love Gilbert Gottfried.
Yeah, God rest his soul.
Yeah. Oh, this must be a request that Emily was talking about. The Shining.
Yes, we'll definitely cover The Shining at one point. Yeah, like I love it's like I know we praised Stephen King a lot on this podcast, but with all the great work that he has done over the years, can you really blame us?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Um,
we definitely are looking forward to like covering The Shining at one point.
Billy's asking Don, is that Scream Factory release of Trick or Treat?
It says here Warner Premiere. I don't believe this is Scream Factory. I know that so Warner Brothers made this. I don't think yeah, it says Warner Premiere. So I don't think Scream Factory released this one.
2008 was when it declined. He's talking about Facebook.
Oh, yeah.
It did, but see, I started using Facebook in 2009, and as far as I'm concerned, it worked out really well. I mean, at least for me, it still works really well. I think it started falling apart, I would say around late 2010s, like 2017 or 18. No, 2016 was when it fell apart. No, actually, no, I'll take that back. 2011 was when it started falling. So it was fine for the first couple of years, but then things just sucked afterwards.
Yeah.
Wrong Turn. Yeah, it's a good movie.
It is definitely. I'm not too fond of the remake though.
Yeah, I heard it's a lot different.
Or reboot, whatever.
Yeah, it's a Langoliers.
Yeah, Legos, that was silly.
That was
like
a silly film.
yeah, it was like the big main thing it had going for it was that it had what was his name? Balky from Perfect Strangers in it.
Yeah.
Like that's one of the main reasons people watched it back then, that miniseries.
It was just like that was just an insane film.
Yeah, scaring a little girl.
Part 2, Dr. Sleep. I love Dr. Sleep.
Yeah, that one.
Oh yeah, yeah. She's talking about
the second Shining.
And believe it or not, Emily, if you didn't know, they actually are trying to make another a sequel to. Well, actually, they're still deciding they're going to make a prequel or a sequel to Doctor Sleep. Although if they make a prequel, not only will it be a prequel to Doctor Sleep, but it will also be a prequel to The Shining.
Yeah, I like Facebook more than MySpace. Oh yeah, everybody prefers Facebook now. Everybody. Let's see.
Branson Pincock.
Pinshaw. Yeah, that's the actor who in Langoliers who played Balky in Perfect Strangers. Yeah, that's his name. He was also I remember seeing him in that new Chilling Tales of Sabrina. He played that principal that she gets back at for allowing her friend to be bullied. So yeah,
so weird. Sorry, I was just catching up with the comments.
So weird seeing him as a villain. Yeah, he played a completely different character from what people were used to watching that show Perfect Strangers. Let's see, what is this? Cheerleader
Massacre.
I haven't seen that one yet, but I want to. You know, like I think that was that made in the 80s? Because
it sounds like I'm looking that up right now.
Yeah, because wouldn't be surprised because that's when the big slasher craze took place. You know, I was
no. Surprisingly, no, it didn't. It didn't even come out at all. You could pretty much say at all in the 20th century. It came out in 2003.
Oh, 2003. That's Cheerleader Massacre. Okay, I'm thinking of something else. There was something similar that came out in the 80s.
There was what was it? Oh, I think it was here. I'm looking at. I might be right on the name. I think it was called.
Good show.
It was in the late. It was in the late This was in the late 80s that came out. What I think it is. Yeah, there was Cheerleader Camp that came out in 1988.
Oh.
Yes, Anthony just brought up another legendary slasher film, Slumber Party Massacre.
That's what I'm thinking. I was thinking of Slumber Party Massacre. Oh, here. Wait. The Fly with Jeff Goldblum. Yes. God. That one was oh man. Wow. That was one of my favorite horror remakes ever. You know, just I love how they're just like using his body falling apart as like a metaphor of the effects of the AIDS pandemic back in the 80s.
And it was directed by David Cronenberg, who is like the master. He basically is the master of body horror films. I mean, he daps into a very realistic idea, which is the result of basically involving the flesh, you know, and putting it into a perspective where your body is basically betraying you.
Yep.
The Fly 2 was okay.
It was decent. Yeah, I've seen worse sequels. You know, it's like sure, it's not on par with the original, but I have seen worse.
Don't Eat Me. Oh, Don't Eat Me haunts me.
Oh, that's from the original version.
That's the original one from 1958 with Vincent Price in it, but it was not Don't Eat Me. It was Help Me.
Yep. Yeah, that's what she's referring to. But,
Yeah.
yeah, I wanted to say, like, as far as cast members of, like, going back to the Hocus Pocus, one of the biggest like names from that film now is Doug Jones. You know, like
That's
Doug
right.
Jones has like Billy Butcherson is like probably the first like creature that he's played in film because he's known for playing all kinds of monsters in movies. Like I remember like at one point I saw him play like a in that movie Quarantine, which is an American version of this film. My favorite of Wreck, my
Yeah, of
favorite film.
course. I knew you were gonna bring that up.
Yep. He played a like the final creature in that, like that heavily emaciated being in the attic. But
Oh,
like, after I saw that, I saw like more of his work because I thought he played a good monster, and he played other monsters in movies. Like he was he would look mostly worked with director Guillermo del Toro in his movies. Like he played Ape Sapien in the Hellboy movies, and he also played let's see, the Fawn and the Pale Man in Pan's Labyrinth, and played the Amphibian Man in The Shape of Water.
that's right. He played a lot of different stars. I mean, it's
Oh
just
yeah,
like, oh man, I mean, I just don't know how he does it. I mean, yes, I mean, maybe he just needs the job. I don't know what it is, but he does just such a great job
oh
with
yeah.
how he does things.
He's
And
amazingly talented.
not to
Mm.
mention, he was also in if I'm correct, because I'm looking some stuff up about him right now. Wasn't he also in Stranger Things? Because it said because I looked it up and it said Stranger Things as I was typing his name in.
Hmm. I don't. Not sure if I
No, I'm
saw
not
anything.
seeing anything. I don't know why it showed that. That was weird.
Not sure
Didn't
if I
see
saw
it.
that in there.
And of course, Doug Jones, obviously. Yeah, I was going to say you mentioned about like one of the other characters he's played. Of course, you also mentioned the Fawn from Pan's Labyrinth. Of course, he also played the Pale Man.
Yep. He played two monsters in one film. So,
Two
uh,
monsters, one good, one evil.
mm-hmm.
And then
And
he was also, and I'm just looking at a few other movies that he was in.
yeah.
Don,
What?
I think I should tell you this. He was also in Jack Frost too.
I remember that. I like we did a review like a little while back around Christmas time on Jack Frost, a movie about a serial killer that is turned into a snowman. Yeah, yeah, yeah. A film like that exists,
Oh
and
no. Guess what
yeah,
else he was also
and
in?
wait.
Sorry, go on.
Like,
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah. So he basically like what he does in that film, he plays a shipwrecked survivor, just arguing about just bickering with the other guy. They get into a fight. First guy falls in the water, is killed off screen, and then Jack Frost puts an icicle through Doug Jones, and he he does some fairly decent to like dying kind of acting in that part. But yeah, that's the only positive thing I have to say about that film.
I love Jeremy's comment right there. And the sequel. Oh boy, terrible. PU.
Yeah. Looks
Well,
like
I gotta point this out too. You know what else he played in? Doug Jones.
what?
I don't even have to tell you what character he plays because it's the same title as the movie. And we saw this, and man, was this terrible.
I know what you're just gonna say.
The Bye Bye Man. He
Ugh.
was, yep. Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't think it. Don't see it.
Yeah,
Don't hear it.
don't watch it. Don't watch that film.
That had to been. I'm sorry. That was one of his worst. Doug
Yeah,
Jones is a
and
good actor, but
and it
man,
was all, and that movie was a waste of Faye Dunaway's talent.
yeah, it didn't even make any sense. It really didn't.
No,
He was also in.
it's like
Of course, you mentioned about how he worked with Guillermo del Toro. He was also in addition to The Shape of Water. Just 2 years earlier, he was also in. He played one of the ghosts in Crimson Peak.
oh
So
yeah,
he's
that's right.
collaborated with Guillermo del Toro before as well. So this was
Uh,
not his
that's right.
first time that he was in it. He was in a film that was made by him, and of course, he'll be in the sequel, The Hocus Pocus. And finally, the only other film I could think of that he's also. I mean, there's a lot more. I'm not going to go through all of them, but
Mhm.
he was also in Ouija, Origin of Evil.
Ouija, yeah,
Ouija. See, I always pronounce it as Ouija because some people
Ouija.
say Ouija, others is Ouija.
I say Ouija.
Yeah, he was in that movie, and then also I didn't know this. This is not the same movie. He also played. Well, he's known as the operator, but he played Slender Man in Always Watching a Marble Hornet stories based on the YouTube series.
Oh, let's see.
Yeah, so he was also Slender Man.
Oh yeah, just don't mention Slenderman because that just makes me think of that. Not just that,
Well,
not that terrible movie.
that other Slender Man movie. No, we're not talking. I'm not talking about that one. We're talking about a different Slender Man film, but in the Marvel Hornet series, he's called the Operator.
Wait, I've got it. The ultimate crossover film. Okay, lay it on us, Jeremy. What do you got?
Yeah.
All right, what do you got, man? Crossover film. What is it? What?
What did he say? I had to send a message quickly. The award. The Ouija Bee Gees.
Oh my god.
That is, I had to, that is funny. That is funny.
Oh man. Wow. I was expecting something totally different.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing too.
I was expecting like I was expecting like Bye Bye Man versus Slender Man or something.
Oh God, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I just love the comments for what everyone's saying. And yes, I will admit, yes, the Bee Gees are awesome. The Ouija Bee Gees. That could be a good title for a film, I have to admit. Yeah, you know what? As filmmakers, Don, you know, we're gonna have to make something, film something now.
Yeah, horror BGs, why not? Well,
Horror
they did.
BGs,
Well, hey, they did make a horror film focusing on the Banana Splits, and are about to release a horror version of, and are about to release a horror version of Winnie the Pooh. So why not?
I know. You know what, Jeremy, who I know is still watching. He and I, we had Greg, that his show that comes on afterwards.
Mhm.
We had him on a couple weeks ago as a guest, Greg Becken, and
Huh.
we were I don't know how we really got into the conversation. I think it was Greg who brought it up,
Right.
but he told us about that there was a Winnie the Pooh horror film, slasher film coming out, and I looked it up. I'm like,
Blood and Honey.
oh no, you have got to be kidding me. It looks so bad. It literally, honestly, the Winnie mask they use, I thought it looked more like the bear from Five Nights at Freddy's.
It kind of did. I did a reaction video to that trailer, so yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
That's crazy.
Let's see, sold.
Sold.
Actually, I do have an idea for an epic crossover, but I'm keeping that to myself. I can't imagine why.
Oh yes. Dahmer. Did you know that Molly Ringwald played Dahmer's mom? Really?
I've yet to see that film. I heard the victims of the families of the victims from the Dahmers are saying that it's like needlessly harsh and cruel, like a film. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I'll have to see for myself to come up with my own opinion about it. But yeah, any movie that's based on a real life serial killer is always unsettling. But just the fact that this really happened.
Well, and not only that, it's just, well, honestly, I haven't seen the show either, so I've been meaning to, but of course, I've also been working on more of my scary stories to release, and also I got my presentation coming up, so yeah, I'll definitely check it out real soon. Although I have to admit, though, it was kind of crazy that they brought in actor Evan Peters to play Jeffrey Dahmer in that show.
Oh yeah, Evan Peters, it's like great actor, but I just never expected him to play a role like that.
If we're starting him, well, I mean, I know his career goes back several years, but still, when I first saw him in American Horror Story, it's just like, and yes, he's played killers on the show, like in Hotel, for example, but this is to a much more different extreme because we're talking about he's playing a real serial killer who, and let's be honest, Don, who kind of really lived not too far from us. I mean, yes, it was before, when when we were born, but it's still unsettling to know that, it was only an hour north up, and because Milwaukee's only an hour away from us.
Oh yeah. That's true. And here, watched Molly Ringwald on the Breakfast Club yesterday, and so yeah, I've seen her in Breakfast Club, I've seen her in The Stand. And let's see, Pretty in Pink. She's done a lot of great work. So, but yeah, to see her in a role in a film like that, yeah, that's
Yeah,
wow.
because I know someone would steal and turn it into an indie. We talk about that, the Ouija Bishi. So I won't say it publicly. And, and yes, Emily, he is. Yeah,
Yeah,
Evan
from
Peters is
Earthbound.
awesome in AHS.
Yes, great show. Never seen that movie. Yeah,
Uh,
that's I think the Dahmer. I think he's talking
yeah,
about Dahmer. Yeah, that just
the
came out.
series.
I
Well,
think.
it's a series. His interviews were that it was his hardest role to play and very disturbing for him.
Well, Dahmer was a very disturbing character. So yeah.
And yes, Ted Bundy and Dahmer were both in Columbus, Ohio State University. That's all we need to know to stay away from Ohio.
Oh yeah. People say Ohio State University is haunted too. So yeah,
It's
there's a lot of elements that are keeping people away from that place.
In fact, actually, if you think about it, Ohio State University, because it's located out in Athens, Ohio, which, by the way, like when I was mentioning about when we were on the other show, and when I was talking briefly about the Mothman Festival in Point Pleasant,
Yes.
Athens, Ohio, which because Point Pleasant is right next to it's literally right next to the West Virginia Ohio border, border with the Ohio River bordering it. Just an hour away is Athens, Ohio, which is where Ohio State University is located. And not only is it known for those two serial killers that attended there, but they say, according to the British Society for Psychical Research, it's actually considered the 13th most haunted place on Earth.
Wow.
Haven't seen
What?
The Breakfast Club.
What?
No, it's Breakfast Club. He's never seen it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Wow. Well,
you must see it. You have to see it, Jeremy. It's an 80s gem. It's a classic.
You and I are practically Ohio's neighbors. That is true, because he is out in New Haven, and I'm not sure how far that would take to him for him to get from that area of Indiana down to Kentucky.
Yep. Let's see. What was I going to say?
That one, please, must see. Oh, Emily said, I went to University of Ohio in Athens, but OSU it's in Columbus, Ohio. Okay, so I got that wrong.
Oh yeah, and there were like some Breakfast Club, awesome movie. Yes, it is. Like in Hocus Pocus, there were like a lot of memorable. Like the most memorable scene for me was like that when the kids go to that party where their parents are at. Yeah, like they and then you first see like the dad is just as Dracula, like something a lot of people do in for Halloween. But the mom was like dressed up as Madonna, like has that huge that huge bra part of the costume, and I'm just like, dressing up like that in a Disney movie.
Again, this is another one of those examples that you put that in a Disney film like that today, and that would be like a no immediately.
Immediate controversy. Parents will bombard.
Yeah.
Parents will bombard Disney with angry mail, hate mail, all kinds of things.
Jeremy's 15 miles from Ohio. No, I was saying how far you would go from in that area of Indiana down to Kentucky. I know you're only 15 miles from Ohio.
Yeah. And so yeah, that scene where the band is playing, and then the kids try to warn everybody about the witches. The Sanderson sisters are among them again, but they see the witches. They think they're all in costume. They think they're then they perform spell on you. I'm just like, oh man, like Halloween.
And before that, the performer was singing, and we brought this up on the other show, a cover of Frank Sinatra's Witchcraft, one of my all-time favorites, and one that it's obviously a song I have on my Halloween music list. Sorry, my mom's in the background. She's giving our cats, well, one of the cats, her medicine. So if you hear a voice, that's just my mom in the background.
Okay.
Love my Ohio State thermal cup. I was right there. I never knew I should have investigated all there for weeks. Oh, to Kentucky, 3.5 hours. Okay. And Emily said she lives in a tri-state, Ironton, Ohio, Ashland, Kentucky, Huntington, West Virginia. Check that out.
Wow.
We're kind of like that too, almost in a way, because we're only an hour from the Indiana border and an hour north of the Wisconsin border.
Yeah. Hour south.
Or south, excuse me. You know I'm not good with directions.
Yeah.
Brad's back.
Yep. Hello, Brad. Yeah. So, yeah, the witches like one of the things I loved about them is like, sure they're from the 1600s, but then they're brought back into modern time. That means they're introduced to like the modern world. Like everything is like all new to them. Like the whole idea of concrete roads. You know,
I was gonna bring that
I
up.
I laughed like crazy when they were just like they were like what is this? Like
They thought it was a
what
black river.
Black River, and like, oh, it's a road. It's solid. And then being introduced to the bus where they meet that super flirty bus driver, and oh man, and let's see, like, oh, and also they're introduced to TV. They're introduced to like all just about all the modern technologies that I'm pretty sure people back then would have been just like that. This is what we've become.
Well,
You
most
know?
importantly, they didn't seem that that Halloween was now, well, at that time it was called All Hallows Eve. Halloween became like a fun holiday.
Oh
And
yeah.
I actually decided to look up because if the beginning of the film took place on October 31st, 1893, sorry, 1693. I'm sorry, I got the wrong one. It's I decided to look up because I've always wondered, because I'm always seeing different answers about like when did Halloween actually become a holiday in the US. And it was, from what it says here, is almanacs of the late 18th and early 19th century give no indication that Halloween was widely celebrated in North America. It was not until after mass, of course, I know this. It was not until after mass Irish and Scottish immigration in the 19th century that Halloween became a major holiday in America. So, even if it did exist back in 1693, it was not designated as a holiday at that time. It was considered a certain day, but obviously not the same way as how we look at it today. In fact, another movie that showed a demonstration like that just a few years later, this involved Tim Burton, was Sleepy Hollow. It takes place
Oh,
in 1799,
I
and
love.
the first half of that film, you can see jack-o'-lanterns, and you can see Halloween was starting to. You can kind of say this was kind of around when Halloween was starting its early stages of what it is today.
Oh yeah.
Again, wasn't considered a holiday back then, but it was at the early stages.
Yes. Oh, I love Sleepy Hollow. I just
So
yeah, great art, great set design, the costuming, and I just love Johnny Depp and Christina Ricci's their chemistry in that.
that's just two primary examples. I mean, even though for Hocus Pocus, it only lasts for 15 or 20 minutes, no, like 10, 15 minutes for the first part of the film to take place in 1693. That film and Sleepy Hollow, they did a great job with the period clothing that they used. And even for, you know, even if it wasn't exactly how people looked, they still did the best they could. It was really well done.
Oh yes, and
Only for 20 hours. Yes, Jeremy, we do know that Greg canceled tonight. I actually told Don about it right at the beginning because I did see the message Greg had sent. So I already told him.
yes,
Thanks anyway.
yep, and Facebook jail. Oh,
Where's
geez.
the party at Brad's Facebook jail cell or mine later? And I love what Jill had wrote saying, Braddy the baddie. The reason why he's saying that is because she's saying that is because Brad ended up in Facebook jail last week on Supernatural Talk. It
Oh
was Brad, remind me of what you said. Oh wait, no, I don't. No, I don't want you to tell
no,
me, because
no.
if you do, you'll end up in Facebook jail again.
Yep,
Never
you're gonna
mind.
go back.
Forget about what I said. Greg has invented repair, so he won't be able to. Just don't drop the song.
Oh my god.
Hey,
Oh my
don't tell me when I can't have fun.
oh man.
I'll tell you
So
next.
okay, and what? Wait,
You take this
and
one.
when Denny say Yabos at Allison's house, and then Danny say Max like your Yabos low. Remember that part of Hocus Pocus? Oh yeah, like her. I mean, her performance as Danny was like absolutely great as far as like the characters. Yeah, like full of Halloween spirit, even though Max did was not, where they were not fond of moving to Salem, which a town that played a huge role in starting Halloween. Yeah, but
Yes, I just saw your message, Brad. Okay, so this is what he said. All he said, which is not even that bad of a message. He said, this is what got him in Facebook jail. He said, girls are evil. Run. Like, I don't know. Just Facebook is just so much more strict than what it was so many years ago. It just sucks.
yeah, well,
But
but
in the end,
Facebook
it
does have a
was,
point. Facebook does have a point, though. Girls are not evil.
yeah. Well, either way, Brad, good to have you back. Glad that you're out
Yeah.
of Facebook jail.
Yes, I'm glad.
Chill.
Yeah, when he said "ooh" to girls, Jeremy too. Oh, yeah,
Oh, trust me, Jeremy. Yep, I was just about to bring this up, Jeremy. Yeah, he actually took his comment to the oversight. But yeah, I saw what he wrote, and that really showed, obviously, well, not only just his, but a lot of our frustration when it comes to certain issues with Facebook. Apparently, yeah, it was deemed hate speech.
yes.
Beg to differ. Emily just said, I got shadow banned again for saying we don't hear much about Hawaii, and I'm risking the ban again. Her posts were pushed down for 90 days.
Oh,
What?
huh,
Oh, jeez.
man.
If Jeremy was on right now, as he would always say, Facebook is stupid. That's when we say, let's jump ship and make new MySpace. You know what? God, you know what? Here's an opportunity to replace our personal pages. I did find out from MySpace that you can broadcast on MySpace. So
No.
why don't we forget our personal profiles and start broadcasting on MySpace?
Yeah, where nobody I'm associated with at all is on MySpace. So
You can
yeah,
get new viewers.
yeah, and all my primary viewers will be gone.
Facebook needs to learn the difference between hate speech and kid speak.
Hmm.
I'll say, yep, see, Jeremy just said it. I said it for you. Oh, sorry. This Tom from MySpace. Oh, yeah, there's that guy, Tom, that everybody's been telling me about on MySpace. Telling
Yeah.
you better add your girl.
Oh, jeez. So
Yes, it is.
yeah, so like I was like enjoyed the I'm just thinking about how much I enjoyed the sisters in that, like the three witches, but the thing is they failed their mission in the end. They were destroyed by the sunlight. So how are they brought back in the second film? That's what I want to know.
Well, you have to remember they still had the book. The book was still around.
Oh, yeah, the book is still around, so
and
the
it's
book just magically summons them again.
well, its eye opened up at the end, which basically, even at the end, it signified the possibility that the witches were going to return at some point. So they were even when they finished wrapping up this film, they already were signifying that a sequel was very likely.
Yeah, and the sequel that took almost 30 years to get out. Man.
That's what
Yeah,
I'm saying.
Disney, like I always tell you, when Disney wants to release a good sequel, they take a good amount of time with it. Like it took like let's see, about almost like well over 15 years to release The Incredibles 2.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's also just because a lot of the people that were involved, I think a lot of the folks that were involved with this film, they also went on to other film projects that they were committed to. Of course, I didn't know this. Kathy Najimy,
Yeah.
I didn't realize that a few years later, she ended up playing the voice of Peggy Hill in King of the Hill.
Oh yeah. I never really watched King of the Hill. I wasn't too crazy about it.
I watch it every once in a while. Like it's just that kind of show I would watch. There's like nothing else on, or
Yeah.
my
I,
dad's watching it.
I
So,
was
but yeah, she was in that show too.
oh, nice. Yeah, like I was more into Simpsons and Family Guy as a kid growing up.
Yeah.
Oh, and remember when the sun rises up and they all turn to
I
dust? Yeah, like
know
he
where
just
you're going with this.
yeah,
Well, if the sisters were turned into
can,
dust, they could use the revelation approach where even as dust, you can be put back together.
oh yeah. Wow. Didn't think of that.
And they
But
go,
yeah, like And when the sun is like rising, or like when they're about to turn to dust, I'm thinking, hey, this is a Disney film, so that shot of the sun rising, we could just throw this into the mix. Hang on.
Yeah, well, and if you think about it, it was just a year before it came out
Yeah,
too.
wait, don't spoil it. Yeah, like since the sun is rising, we could just throw this into it.
Don't want to play for too long though, for copyrights. Futurama was better.
Yeah, I did like Futurama. You know, I mean, hey, it's made by the same man as The Simpsons. You know, Matt Groening. You know, he's produced a lot of great work throughout his entire career.
So I have another trivia fact, by the way, for Hocus Pocus. By the way, you'll find this interesting. In a 2015 interview on Today, Kathy Najimy said she was, and believe it, get this, she was initially reluctant to take the role of Mary because she was afraid she would offend real witches by stereotyping a fictitious fairy tale witch. And of course, obviously, as you know, I mean, I know you've only gone to a few, but considering the amount of paranormal cons I've gone to and to, you know, like, and a lot of the connections I made, you know, nowadays, I know plenty of witches, you know, throughout North America and Europe. So even though we didn't have all these connections, obviously, you know, like in that era, I could sure understand why Kathy Najimy would have been kind of worried about offending real witches because, you know, that's not how real witches are portrayed. At least not in this day and age, they aren't portrayed like they are in that movie.
Yeah. Yeah, there are real life witches that exist today, which kind of take offense to the whole stereotypes of witches wanting to eat children, cast that like nasty spells on people. Like I've known one or two people who consider themselves witches who don't, who only use like witchcraft for good. You know, like
Yeah, I was just talking with someone the other day who practices witchcraft, but in spite of practicing witchcraft, she does not say. There's a popular misconception that there's these that witches are people who practice Satanism and are evil and will commit ritual sacrifices, including children and animals, all that kind of stuff. When reality is, I mean, even if that did actually once existed, it certainly as hell doesn't. But as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to witch, like real life witches, they do not worship Satan. I
yeah,
mean, they might worship other, you know, other entities that they believe in. And of course, there's pagans too, but they aren't people who worship the devil and will sacrifice, you know, children and animals for Satan to take in exchange for immortality or satanic powers or anything. It's nothing like that at all compared to the real witches.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure like modern witches, I'm pretty sure the majority of them don't do the things that are depicted in films like this.
No, not at all. I mean, yeah, I mean, yes, there are times like witches I've met. Yes, they do dress. There are times they dress up in black and that kind of stuff. But you know, for the most part, it's nothing compared to how they are portrayed in films. I remember about something about that interview. I think she was afraid of typing witches being portrayed as stupid and dim-witted. That does make a little more sense.
Yeah.
I think she should be more offended portrayed. I mean, by my ex and not worried about offending witches. you remember all these comments that Brad always talks about his ex-wife?
Oh my god.
And Jeremy just read my mind. You're making me feel more bad. Make me feel bad for your ex-wife.
Oh,
Wicker Man. That's
oh yeah, that had you know, paganism in that.
paganism.
Yep, and it features one of my all-time favorite British actors who is like well known for playing villains in movies. You know where I'm going with this, Nick. Yeah, the late Christopher Lee, who did an amazing job playing Lord Summersisle in that film, The Wicker Man. You know, like, and as far as the remake, yeah, let's pretend that one doesn't exist.
I'm only just going to say one thing about the remake, and this is it. It's the only scene out of this entire movie that's good. You already know which scene I'm talking about.
Yeah, the scene that everybody talks about.
With Nicolas Cage. Oh, what is that? What is that? Oh, not the bees. Not the bees. They're in my eyes.
Yeah, that's the only scene that everybody talks about in that film, even though it was featured in the director's cut, not the theatrical release.
I just love that. That's like the only scene out of that film that's good that I'm willing to watch. I will not watch the rest of
Yeah.
it except
And
that scene.
yeah, but the original is a major improvement because
Yes, it is.
the conflict in it is perfectly clear. It's Catholicism versus paganism,
Right.
and that performance made by Christopher Lee made it so much better. I mean, Christopher Lee, he's played so many different
Oh,
villains in the. I mean, he's played the man with the golden gun, Scaramanga. He played Scaramanga on that. Let's see, he played Saruman in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Let's
yep.
see. Yep,
He also played
Yeah,
Dracula in the Hammer films.
yep, Count Dooku in Star Wars.
He was in a lot of horror films throughout the basically throughout the 60s, 70s, and early 80s. I mean, he well, you know what? Actually, I got to bring this movie up again. He was also even in the 90s too, because in the beginning, he was also one of the judges in the beginning of Sleepy Hollow.
Yes, he's done some frequent work with Tim Burton as well. Like he played Willy Wonka's dad in that remake of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory
That's
with Johnny Depp. Yeah, he
that's
played that.
right.
Yeah, he played a dentist. Who's your favorite film?
Brad, do not bring up
Nope,
that
nope.
film.
Do not mention that.
Not
Nope,
our
nope,
favorite.
nope, nope. Not discussing that. No.
Brad, you should be glad I'm not your ex, or you would have been ex. That's a good rhyme. Oh my god. Why do you think I married her? I was hexed.
Oh my god. Oh wait.
Christopher Lee was the quintessential villain. Yeah, he was. He really
Yes, yes,
was.
very much
And,
so.
and he was also part of the as I called the all-time horror trio, in the 60s and 70s, because you had him, Peter Cushing, and of course Vincent Price.
Yes, legendary horror actors right there.
And sadly, Christopher Lee was the last one who passed away because um, Vincent Price died again, same year when Hocus Pocus came out in 1993.
Yep.
I think Peter Cushing, didn't he die the following year? I think it was 1994. I think he passed away.
Trying to remember.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
They both died in the 90s. It was. No. Actually, I'll take that back. It was. Oh, yep, yeah. I was right. Yeah, 1994. So he died a year afterwards. Then all we had left was Christopher Lee until he passed away a few years ago as well. And that was
2014. It was more than a few.
See, I get it. It's been a while. So
yeah, he was like in his 90s and he was still acting. He was in his 90s and he was still acting. That's what I really admire about the guy. Like he doesn't let age getting in the way in doing what he loves.
That was true commitment right there. So
Yes.
he died a month after he turned 93 years old, and his career years active, it went between 1948 and up till his death in 2015.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, thanks, Brad.
Yeah, he was an actor to the very end.
No, don't really know Cushing well enough to have an opinion. Well, if you think about it too, just one final thing is that you mentioned about how Christopher Lee played Count Dooku in the second series of Star Wars.
In the prequel series.
Prequel series, excuse me. When they did the original Star Wars film from 1977, Peter Cushing was in it.
Yes, I was just going to bring that up.
So it's like even though Vincent Price wasn't in it, you had two of the horror trio participate in Star Wars from two different eras.
Yes.
Vincent Price. Oh, yes. He had the perfect voice.
He did.
We need to do an episode at some point about Vincent Price.
Yes, we do. Quite a few films of mine. I'm thinking of The Fly, House on Haunted Hill, like
The Tingler.
The Tingler,
The Last Man on Earth. And there's even, I don't even want, I just discovered something about it, but I'd rather wait to bring it up when we talk about, because it's something I didn't know about. So I'll save that for that episode.
I got you. Let's see.
No Cushing from Star Wars. And yes, Jeremy brought this up. Yeah, Price was 82 when he died in 1993. Yes, October 25th to be exact, just before Halloween. And it did fit perfect. I mean, I can't believe I'm saying this. It did fit perfectly. He died a few days before Halloween at the age of 82.
Yeah. House
House on
on
Haunted
Haunted
Hill.
Hill, awesome movie. Yep, the original one, yeah, like that. I'm guessing that's what you're talking about. The original version, yeah, that was a great film. It had a good twist to it. Yeah, it had all the great makings of a classic horror film, which is more than I could say about the remake. Which yeah, like it was released at a time when like people didn't really care that much about horror remakes during in 1999 because they were focused more on many other films on that year. I mean, there was let's see, The Matrix, Phantom Menace, The Sixth Sense, to name a few.
And I hate to say it because this came out the same year as the remake of House on Haunted Hill. Um, it's even worse. That terrible remake of The Haunting.
Oh,
Yeah, that came out. It came out the same year too, 1999.
yeah, man.
You know who has the perfect voice? Peter Cullen.
Peter Cullen.
That name sounds familiar. Where have
I
I heard
think
that
I know what
before?
you're talking about. I think I know who that is. Trying to remember.
So to try to get back with Hocus Pocus,
Yes,
uh,
that's
I have.
so.
I was gonna say I have one final trivia fact about that movie, and then this kind of ends my trivia. The most interesting ones I could find. So, if you didn't know this, Disney bought the script in 1984, then sat on the project for 8 years. Now, interestingly enough, the original title was it was going to be a completely different title. The original title was Disney's Halloween House, and
Oh,
get this, it was supposed to be much darker and scarier. Like I think they were actually trying to make this into a real horror film. Although it says rumors that Disney considered turning it into a made-for-TV movie at one point have spread over the internet, but to date has not been confirmed by the cast and crew.
oh. Huh. 1984. Yeah, that's around the same time when Frankenweenie was released, the original.
I figured you were going to bring that up.
Yep. And
No, it wasn't. It wasn't The Revenge. It was just called House on Haunted Hill, the
yeah,
remake.
it was. There was a sequel called Return of that remake, a sequel to the remake, The Return of
That's
House on
even
Haunted
better.
Hill. That was even worse.
Optimus Prime. The hell's he talking about?
Oh, I
I mean,
think
I
I know.
know it's.
He's talking about Peter Cullen. That's how I know that movie.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. Optimus Prime from Transformers.
Yeah, like he was a great voice actor. Him along with Frank Welker, who has also worked with Transformers, mostly playing the Decepticons.
Right, right.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Both are great voice actors. Let's see.
Edward Scissorhands was his last theatrical film, although he did do a TV film and has an unfinished animated feature he voiced for. That's he's talking about going back to Vincent Price. Yeah, it was his last movie that he ever did. Of course, obviously the only movie that he ever did for the 90s ever. And yeah, this unfinished animated feature, but a lot of people always point out that Edward Scissorhands was Vincent Price's last movie he ever did before he passed away.
Oh yeah,
Cullen is the voice for Optimus Prime in the Transformers movies. He's got a good deep voice, but not for
yeah. Like they had a lot of amazing voice acting talents for Transformers. Like I said, Frank Welker was my favorite because he did the voice for that and also Disney film. Like he was the voice for the Cave of Wonders in Aladdin.
Oh my God, Frank Welker. He's done like 800 films. I mean,
He's done a lot
there's
of
like
work.
there like
Wow.
anything that you could think of from your childhood. He was in it. So and he basically did everything. He did like Disney, Warner Brothers. I mean, like any type of
Scooby
company.
Doo.
Yeah, well, and not even just that. I mean, any Hanna-Barbera,
Yeah,
like
Hanna
any
Barbera.
type of company and every type of cartoon series from like the late 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and early 2000s, and even today, he always has something to do with in video games, not just television shows,
Oh
video
yeah,
games and computer games. He's like he's like in everything. I mean,
oh yeah.
there's
Any
always something involving him in it.
anything that is in any kind of media that has involved voice acting, he's done it. And like I remember the first time I ever heard his voices, like when I was a kid, I saw Inspector Gadget when he was like playing the voice of Dr. Claw in that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Yeah, where he was just like,
I'll get you next time, Gadget.
Yeah, I know.
classic.
It's nuts. It's just like he's always in everything.
Yep. Oh
Oh,
man.
This is what Brad was talking about. Well, I couldn't say
Ah.
Jaws, so I added the Revenge the House.
Yeah, I figured.
Don't even try.
Nope.
Actually, no. There was another movie called Catch Fire that was released in 1990 that had Vincent Price in it.
I'll have to check that out. I don't think I've heard of that one.
Also known as Backtrack.
Backtrack.
Brad's leaving.
Brad,
thanks, Brad. Good night.
Thank you for tuning in and joining us.
And before you say it, Brad, no, we're not going to go on for another 6 hours like you always say.
Nope. No, because I need my sleep.
So, but anyways, we've been going off track several times. Let's get back to finishing up talking about Hocus Pocus.
Yes, let's finish this up. Let's see. Yeah, like this was like I said, this movie was released during like much simpler times. Like I remember just going, trick or treating without a worry in the world. Yeah,
right. And you weren't judged either for what you wore in those days too.
Yeah,
because nowadays there's like people like you look at people who dress up for certain costumes and stuff like that, and there's just people who sometimes find it offensive, or just dumb or outdated or anything like that. It's just like that movie again showed of like what I mean, as I could probably put it, Hocus Pocus was that kind of film that showed of what trick or treating used to, or not even just trick or treat, what Halloween used to be. Jeremy. Okay, back to Hocus.
Yes. Hey, your magic spell worked. We're back to it.
Well, you know what? Actually, there is. Okay, I got something else for you, Don, just to finish up. Actually, there is. You probably never saw this in the film. Notice in the film, there actually was one final trivia fact. It was okay. So like how, because we were talking about this in the film, like how the zombie Billy Butcherson, like how his mouth is sewed shut.
Yes.
Unless you notice like closely on the screen, you would have never noticed this. But it turns out the stitches keeping Billy's mouth shut are sewn in the pattern of XIII, the Roman numerals.
Oh.
You know what that is?
13.
You got it. The Roman numerals for the number 13, which of course represents the unlucky number.
Mm-hmm.
So they even paid homage to the number 13 in that film.
Wow, I didn't even. Yeah, I'm surprised I didn't even realize that.
I didn't notice that either. I really didn't. I guess you have to really look. You basically have to really pay attention and really see up close on the screen or whatever to really see that, because I thought they were all straightened up.
Wow, man. But yeah, Hocus Pocus, really big nostalgic film from my childhood. Cannot wait for this new one after nearly 30 years. Disney took its time with this one.
Yeah, and as I mentioned in the other show, I mean, it was amazing when I did watch it. It like I said before, I mean, for those that didn't see it on the other show, when Don showed it to me, sorry, Slinky just jumped out from the crawl space.
Oh, that kid.
My cat. So, but no, like when you showed that to me, it was like that was the first time I saw that film in nearly 25 years. And the last time I saw that was literally the late 90s. It had to have been October of 1997 or 98. And that was when the Disney Channel started showing it. So that was when it was really starting to grow its popularity. And after all these years, except for one scene out of the entire movie, because again, not seeing it for nearly 25 years, it was very much like watching it for the very first time. But there was only one scene out of that entire film that I remember to this day. And you know what? I'll say it anyway, because I'm sure a lot of you guys are going to know this scene is "Go to hell." Oh, I've been there. Thank you. I found it quite lovely. that I have to admit, that is a badass line. I mean, I'm surprised that hadn't been used for an earlier film.
Yeah.
As the movie closes, Winifred's spellbook opens its eye once more, revealing that it is still alive. Yeah, just like I said earlier, revealing that it's still alive, which means the witches could possibly return again someday. See, and then Anthony just pointed out Evil Dead book or Hocus. I've been calling
I was thinking that. I was just thinking that.
I was asking, is that the Necronomicon? And I was really questioning, saying, did they draw some inspiration from the Evil Dead trilogy? Because it's dealing with a book that basically is the Necronomicon.
Yeah, pretty much. They did say that this magic book was bound in human flesh. So
that's what it was in the Evil Dead trilogy.
Yeah.
I just have to bring this up. Wouldn't it have been funny as hell if they actually brought like Bruce Campbell unannounced to the scene, like the kids are running for their lives, and then all of a sudden they pass. Bruce Campbell shows up and he's ready to like hunt down the witches and yell, "Groovy,
groovy." I tell you, one day we are going to have to go over this.
Tom Nally wants to be part of that. Pickle Tom wants to be part of that.
Yeah. So Tom, I don't think Tom's
he hasn't been watching, unfortunately.
Oh yeah, but yeah, Tom, we're definitely going to have you on for this.
Yeah, he's already looking forward to that.
Yeah,
film that something.
Yep. And I saw this this classic gem of a horror film when I was only 10 years old. So
hail to the king, baby, as he would say. And it's just it's just a funny thought, just even thinking. And then it's funny that movie came out a year afterwards, after Army of Darkness came out. It was 19. What do you say? Bruce comes in and says,
"Oh my
I think
God.
You have my book."
That would have been priceless. Oh my God.
Throwing a little Evil Dead to that movie to show, like, yep, this is part of the Evil Dead series.
Yep. It's official. The Evil Dead has a 4th chapter.
So does this mean the witches are Deadites? That's what I wonder.
It could be. Maybe.
Movie trolls are the gates.
I remember seeing The Gate. That was ages ago. Man.
I don't think I ever saw The Gate.
That had Stephen Dorff in it when he was a kid. I remember him from he was Deacon Frost in Blade. Yeah, that's like the one biggest role that I remember and I know him for. Yeah, so yeah, Blade. We're definitely going to cover that one because for all of you who are fans of superhero movies and the MCU, Blade played a huge role in bringing superhero movies back because it was in a heavy decline during the late 90s, when you had terrible ones being released like Batman and Robin and Steel. Yeah. But Blade, even though Blade is obviously not the best superhero film, but it showed us that superhero movies can be awesome and action-packed the way they need to be. So if it wasn't for Blade, there would be no MCU, no Dark Knight trilogy, none of it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes.
Jacob! Oh my God, Jacob's on!
Jacob? Oh,
Jacob Richards!
Hey, Jacob.
Jacob, how you doing?
How's it going, man?
Oh my God, that is awesome. Hey, we gotta hang out at some point, Jacob.
Yes.
Oh my God, that is amazing.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah, you're joining us right. We're about to wrap up the show, but thank you for joining us, tuning in regardless.
I just want to point out one final thing. I mean, because, since we're about to end, we should just say a little bit quick about the upcoming sequel. It's going to be an interesting sequel.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait. Can't wait for Friday.
They really made some changes. I mean, some particular changes to this film because, I think once they finished this film, even if they were in the process of making the sequel sooner, they're making Evil Dead Rise.
Yep, and it's an upcoming film.
Is Bruce Campbell going to be in it?
Maybe.
I hope so. It's not Evil Dead without Bruce Campbell.
Well, the reboot from 2013 was great, even though he did have a cameo in the end. Yeah, but
you still had to have him in some way, shape, or form.
Yep. And
Blade is coming back.
Yes, they're remaking it, and it's going to be part of the MCU. So I can't wait for that.
But I was going to say, though, for the sequel, though, I already knew for a fact that even if they had made the sequel a lot sooner, I already knew that they were probably going to have a different, because I think if they were going to make more movies involving the witches, I think they were going to be, they obviously were not going to, I don't think even then they would have brought back the kids from the first film. I think their whole goal was to have just the witches and Billy Butcherson involved with different groups of kids and teenagers. So yes, obviously it's been almost 30 years since the original one came out, but their whole intention was to have different groups. But even more amazingly is, unlike the original film, it looks like they're focusing on they appear to be college age kids. And I even found out that they were all like 19 years old when they
Oh,
did this film. And of course, and you're seeing this a lot more often now with a lot of these Disney reboots and remakes and sequels. Of course, they also have made the kids a different diversity too. I think what is it, like two black kids and one Hispanic, or is it two Hispanic kids and one black person? It's
oh,
like, yeah, blood shoots of witches.
oh yeah, that was a good scene.
So, but no, I just like how they're also not only changing up the age of the kid, of this next group of kids, but also making it a little bit more racially diverse. Having black and Hispanic kids
Oh yeah,
get involved in this film.
that's what Disney's trying to do lately. They're making all kinds of things. All their movies racially diverse now. I know there's controversy about the new Little Mermaid, yes,
Yes, I heard.
but the way I see it, I feel like even though it's like sure a lot of what Disney has done in recent films has been questionable with a lot of people, but I feel like a lot of things that they're remaking now is probably due to the fact that they've portrayed certain characters and as racially offensive in the past. Like you look at certain films like the Peter Pan, it had Native Americans that were that were
Bad
portrayed in a
guys.
way, that were portrayed in a way that did not age well.
No,
Same thing goes for the crows in Dumbo, and let's see, the Siamese cats in Lady and the Tramp, and oh yeah, also King Louis in the Jungle Book.
yeah, they were originally have Louis Armstrong voice this character, but
It's
they
like
decided to back out the last second. Yeah,
it's
so it
like
shows like
so an African American voicing like being portrayed as a monkey. It's like yeah, that's incredibly racist.
it's racist. So
Yeah,
it's almost like a company that was pretty much kind of a racist company back in the early days. I mean, maybe not necessarily Disney himself, but the company was kind of a racist company in the early days,
yeah.
and it was like that for like well over 40, 50 years. And I guess you can kind of say this is kind of Disney's way of kind of making up for all the stuff they did. Because as much as I hate to say it, that was just unfortunately a way of life back then. And now it's like they're trying to make up for all that and trying to make it, racially diverse as possible.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, and it's like you look back at the original Dumbo. Like I said, those black crows. Like one of them was named Jim, so like Jim Crow, and I'm like,
Jim Crow.
I know,
Yeah.
and I'm like, really,
That
really?
raises eyebrows.
I'm like, really, Disney?
Yeah, that just raises eyebrows for it. So I guess it's, I mean, and once you put that kind of content out, no matter what film production company it is, that's going to leave a stamp on you. It's going to stay tagged. So I got, again, with this sequel that's coming out, this is probably, again, just Disney's way of, you can kind of say, apologizing, but also trying to change its ways than what its original founders and film crews were like back in the early days.
Yes.
Jacob's asking, will it be as popular as the original?
Some might be, some not. I mean, I do love the new live action Jungle Book. Like that one. That one I liked. So
Well,
it's like hit or miss.
yeah, well, it could, it could be the same way as like it did in the original with the original film. It might not be as popular when it first comes out, but maybe in a couple years it will be just as popular.
Hmm.
Real life Mulan.
Yeah, real life Mulan was all right. I thought it was okay. Let's see. It could be a
Could
Disney
also be
sequel.
that Disney's running out of ideas. Well, I mean, that does
No.
it does kind of make sense with all the live action remakes they're making.
Yeah, I mean they have released some great work. Frozen almost 10 years now since they released that. Yeah, my niece and nephew are obsessed with that film.
I'm
Like
still
seriously,
waiting on the.
like
I'm still. Go ahead,
like
go
like seriously, like I played this game right here. Look at this.
ahead.
Kingdom Hearts 3. It features a level based in Arendelle. That's the only level if my niece and nephew, they want to see this game. They always want me to go to the Arendelle because that's where Frozen is.
See, I'm actually still waiting for and they've been putting it off for several years now. I'm still waiting on when they make that remake supposedly of, well, either sequel or live action remake of Nightmare Before Christmas, because they said that's going to be probably one of the toughest movies to ever make, because they were deciding that they were either going to make a live action remake of NBC or a sequel, like an animated sequel. But if they ever get to that, if they ever decide to make a remake of NBC, I'll be honest with you, that's going to be a really because there's really no humans in that film other than Santa.
Yeah,
there really you, and there's no way you could cheat your way of having someone just put makeup on like I did a couple of years ago. You would have to have a real skeleton to play Jack Skellington.
Yeah. Oh, I've heard this comment.
Let's
right
not
here.
forget about the drawing of the original. Oh, yes.
Oh my God.
I'm not going to say it, but I know exactly what he's talking about.
Yes, because because back in the 90s, when my family used VHS tapes, because DVDs had yet to make a huge left their mark in the world. But my older sisters had a VHS copy of The Little Mermaid when it was released. But and we saw, and as we got older, we saw that on the poster, and I'm just like,
yep.
I'm like, what the hell?
Is that what I think it is?
Oh my God.
Jeremy does make a good point with this. Yeah, well, with the originals returning, it's going to be considered canon. Yes, it will. Well, you know what? Even though the other two kids are still, now adults, still acting in films, the teenage boy, Omri Katz, of course, I know he's retired now. He no longer does any type of films, like any type of acting. I think his last acting time he ever appeared in a movie was in the I think it was 1998. But I did find out that although he doesn't do films anymore or acting, he still keeps in contact with his Hocus Pocus co-stars. So believe it or not, you see this a lot with movies. Usually people will come together. Yes, they'll have some kind of friendship or association while they're doing this, making a film. But after the movie's over and after all the premieres are over, they all go their separate ways and appear in other projects. It appears that for like the original Hocus Pocus film, I think they actually all became good friends and actually kept, at least for him, he kept in contact with all of them even after all these years, probably to this day. So it's sometimes amazing how sometimes a film like this actually will draw people together and still remain in contact. And yes, Jill, before you say it, even before the days of using social media like MySpace, that they actually still kept in contact with each other.
Yeah. So I think
with the live action remakes, we are now at a point technologically where they can make movies this way instead of cartoons.
Yeah.
Although there are times I still prefer the cartoons.
Yeah. Sometimes the original is better. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. When I say sometimes, I mean pretty often.
We'll find out soon enough for the sequel that's coming out.
Oh yes. So I think we're at this week a stopping point here. So thank you everybody. Thank you everybody for joining us. If you're not subscribed to my channel yet, please do so. Subscribe to my channel and Nick's channel. Otherwise, the witches, now that they're back, they're going to come after you next.
Yes, they are crap today. I will have to admit, Jeremy. Most of them are. I mean, there's still every once in a while there is a good one, but most of the time it's bad.
Yeah.
And also just make the announcement for Supernatural Talk this upcoming Thursday is what I've been told. We have and if Jeremy, correct me if I'm saying the last name right. We have Austin Maynard or Maynard coming on as a guest on Supernatural Talk. I'm trying to remember a lot of. I didn't really get a lot to know who he really is, but it'll be a fun show this upcoming Thursday. And Don, at some point too, I might have already told you this, but we're hoping to have you on as a guest on Supernatural Talk as well.
Yes, looking forward to that.
The second, okay, so I said it the second way how I said his last name was right.
Good show, my lovely. See you all.
Yes.
Thursday. Yes, cannot wait. Yeah, I can't wait to join you guys on Thursday.
Not this Thursday, but hopefully. I don't think we have any guests for next Thursday, so maybe we'll have you on for next Thursday.
I would love that.
Yeah.
So, thank you everybody for joining us. Be sure to tune in next Tuesday at 8:30 for our next topic. And hope you guys have a good night and enjoy the Hocus Pocus 2.
And just remember, don't say anything about saying that. That's just a load of hocus pocus. I had to say it.
Yes. All right. So take care, everybody. Have a good night.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.